Now, one of the useful workflows is being able to actually model and work in symmetry. So we have several actual methods of doing this and several workflows that enable you to do this. Let's have a look at some of them. So first of all, I have half a head here. And now I'd like to be able to, I've done this maybe half of the modeling, I'd like to be able to do it symmetrically. So a couple things we can do. First of all, we have an option called Symmetrize Polygons. So if you just grab a couple of polygons, just right click here, it'll say Symmetrize Polygons, and it'll basically symmetrize those that you've selected and attach them directly to your mesh. So that's quite an elegant way of doing it. Now of course the problem is that if I actually move something here, it's not going to move on the other side. So it's not upkeeping that symmetry, it's just to create the actual symmetry once you've done half of it. Now another option that's commonly employed of actually being able to model in symmetry is to take half an object. You can even start with just half a cube or something like that, and just make a single clone and mirror that. So just scale in -1. So now what I have is I have an exact copy of the object on the other half here. Okay, but if I actually go in here and I don't know, do some modeling, like maybe just move some points, or I don't know, let's go up here and maybe up here these guys and just like subdivide these a little bit, or maybe instead of doing that, what I could do is actually just select these points and subdivide those. Okay, so we get a little bit of a circle thing, and you'll see that it actually does it on exactly the opposite side as well. So if I look at the mesh on here, it's following suit. The cool thing about that is that it allows me to model on one half and immediately see the changes on the other half, so I only have to worry about one side. So common thing, let's see, let's just grab this guy here and let's just take our polygons and maybe extrude them along axis. And anybody, oops, actually along axis was not what I meant to do. I meant to do along curve. There we go. Grab our curve there, and any of these polygon options or polygon operators that I do, or in fact any operator, will work depending on how I set it up. So you can see then like that I've quickly generated horns and it's immediately mirrored it on the other side. And of course then I can also go here and rotate, for example, the curve, and the dependencies are then also sort of in the relational modeling, so that they'll actually also work on the other side as well. So the whole dependency, there's a whole cycle going on there. But it's quite powerful. So now that's great for doing your modeling things, but the problem is you still have two separate items. Now of course you can just take both of these items and merge them together, and we'll just do a merge, and we don't really need that much tolerance. They're very close together, so we can just snap them together like that, something. And I'll just move this to the side, and you'll see that, okay, so now I have this new item, and I can subdivide this, and nonetheless, even if I model in here, like maybe just raise these guys up here a little bit, you'll see that there's still a definite relationship going back, and it's still quite fast, even though this is actually quite a complex model by now. Okay. Now, one other way of preserving symmetry that we have is actually what's called a symmetry map, and there's a certain advantage with working with a symmetry map. So what I'll do is I'll just show you. Basically it's under the properties. You just simply go to Property, Symmetry Map, and that just builds a symmetry map of this model depending on the plane that you select. Now I'll just put up the tolerance a little bit. What the symmetry map does is it does not actually preserve, I just turn on symmetry here, it does not actually generate geometry as I model, but it will preserve the symmetry depending on what I do. So if I'm just moving points, for example, you'll see that it'll keep a symmetry, or if I'm moving something or modeling. But if I actually add geometry, for example up here, it won't actually symmetrize that. But what it will do is it will work even though these two sides are now no longer symmetrical. So if I turn off symmetry and let's go in here and just move some points like that, something like that. So these are no longer symmetrical, and it's quite obvious. But if I actually go in here and move some points around, it'll try and approximate what the best place is to find another point on the other side, and we'll try and keep a symmetry going, even though these are no longer symmetrical. And you can see that it does a fairly good job. And the higher the tolerance the tolerance is that you set in the symmetry map, the wider an area it'll search or it'll try to preserve. So again, that's quite a useful way, but it doesn't generate symmetry as you work. It simply works with what you have already.